Hey everyone, it's Mike over here at Angry Jellyfish Games, and when I got home from work today, I found a little present from our friends over at Universus. This is going to be my very first, hopefully not last, box opening video, and with the upcoming competitive events in mind, I really want to focus on some limited content for you, so what I'm going to do here is do a pack 1, pick 2 for every pack in this box. So a lot of discussion for this kind of content revolves around pack 1, pick 1. You say, hey, going to open this pack in the draft, which we'll be drafting in the in-person regionals this year. You're going to say, this is the card I would take out of this pack if this was the first pack I opened. This is my first pick. This is why I want to take it. Now, in the set, I think that most of the time, you're just going to start with whatever rare you open. But sometimes that's not the case, and I think that the conversation gets a little more interesting when you start taking in the commons and uncommons that are going to make up the bulk of your deck in limited play. So, pack 1, pick 1, usually going to be the rare. When it's not, I'm going to call this the Zeru's Flames pick or the Botan's Coaching pick. If you open a rare that is very niche or maybe not relatively powerful in the draft format, you might want to pick a common or uncommon over it. So I'm going to talk about what happens in that pack if the rare was a limited dud, shall we say. So with that, let's get to it. Alright, so when I open the pack, the first thing I get to do is take out the character card. The Clown Man can go over here, save him for later. Then we'll take a quick look at our retro reprint. This is Crimson Sparrow. I don't think this is a card I'm super interested for a pack 1, pick 1. And then our rare is going to be Deleterious Bomb. Now, I like this card a lot in exactly one character, so it's a bit of a build around for this guy, Hakashou. I'm not sure if the payoff is good enough in that deck, if that guy's good enough for limited, that I really want to start off the bat with this. So, let's look at what else we got. Looks like we have some decent spam. 45% power is a pretty good attack here. I wouldn't hate first picking this. It's just going to start off your attack string, let you draw a card almost every time when you play it. That's pretty solid. Demon Plants is a bit of a build around for really one character. Aura Slam is pretty strong. There's a lot of throws in this set, and not a lot of ways to combat throw, and a lot of ways to put damage onto throws. So this is a pretty good one. This might be it. Beautiful Suzuki, well, fits with the clown guy there. The Suzuki Enhance is powerful, but is obviously limited to this guy. I don't know if I want to lock in this character right off the bat. I don't know if he's the most powerful for limited gameplay, but the first form on this to commit and just loot 2 right off the bat, kind of sculpt your hand as much as you want throughout the game, that's pretty good. And then Genkai Spirit Shotgun, this is another fairly powerful throw attack. I think I want to take one of these throws. So this one lets you kind of stack your deck a bit for a future attack, but it's only a throw if you're playing, I believe, Genkai or Yusuke. I think there's one other character that has all in order, another combo with those symbols. I think to stay open in the draft, I would want to first pick Aura Slam out of this deck. It's a powerful throw. There's a chance that you get a free build off of it, and it's an off-zone block instead of a mid, which I like a lot here. So, first pack, taking Aura Slam. Alright, pack 2. We're going to take the character card out first. We got Elder Toguro, one of the better characters to get in the draft, but for the regionals, and I think for every time you draft this set, you get to choose your character after the draft is complete, so I'm not going to worry about him quite yet. And the rare, 100% power. Yeah, so I'm going to slam the first pick on this ultra rare. It does have a 2 check, which is always a little risky, but this is going to be a 5 off zone for 5 damage. It gets plus 5 damage on its own pretty easily as long as your opponent's playing the game. EX3, so it's pretty easy to push it through. And if your opponent went up to 10 foundations, you get to commit their character. This is an incredible first pick. It's going to put you in a great direction. You'll probably try to build towards Younger Toguro right off the bat. But even if you don't, anyone who can play this card is going to use it really well. So that's the easy pack 1 pick 1. Now, let's say we opened another Deleterious Bomb or whatever from there. Looking at the commons and uncommons, nothing stands out too much. I do like Settling Old Debts. It's just a spam foundation that flips to draw a card basically whenever you want it to. That's pretty good to have in your deck. You want to have a good number of cards like that. This throw here, the Plant Grass, I'm going to try Ojigi. I'm holding these cards upside down, so this isn't the easiest to pronounce these and read them at the same time. This one's okay, but it is a little character specific to Kurama. The +2 damage is nice, but it requires you to either play the second after they block something or just be Kurama. So it's a little narrow for my taste. I do really like Resting Up. Just, again, a spam foundation. Commit for -2 speed is fine. It's resource positive, but every once in a while you get to -3 speed instead. It's a little bit character specific because it wants you to be committed. Sometimes you get to do that on your own and you're fine with it. Sometimes you commit your character to block the first attack. You get to use this on the next attack, something like that. But this is pretty versatile and just pretty solid to have in your deck. I really like Yusuke's Spirit Wave. I think there are 2 cards with Breaker in all the commons and uncommons, and this has Breaker 2 on a low block. You can just completely blow someone out with this on defense. On offense, 3 Hi-Fi, not really doing much, but it does have that Spirit in the title if you decide to go Yusuke, which means you also get to play it out of the discard, I believe. So it's a pretty vanilla card, but it gets you towards the direction of a character, and it's just a really good defensive surprise. Outside of that, I don't love either of these. I'm really not sure how to judge Thunderous Roar. So commit to get +1 speed for each of your rivals' face downs. That's probably going to add it pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets to +4 or more speed by the middle of the game. That's very good. And then the clause of if you have 30 cards in your discard pile, since I believe we're building 40 card decks for draft, that will basically never come up. You might have one opportunity in a game to be in that condition, but once you have 30 cards in the discard, supposedly you have 6 cards in your hand, and then any number of foundations in play. It's probably never going to happen. But just on its face, 3 diff, commit for, let's say, +4 speed. It's pretty good, but I think I'm just going to take the attack here. So my pack 1 pick 2, Yusuke's Spirit Wave. Alright, pack 3. Opening up a Genkai. Put that to the side as well. Alright, so our rare is going to be Legendary Bandit. So this is a very Kurama-specific card. It says that after you use Kurama's ability to add a face down to your rival's card pool, you essentially get to commit this to add another one. So that cumulative plus speed that Kurama's giving you, this is just going to keep adding on to. And then you can destroy this, and if the attack deals damage, you draw 2. I don't love this card. I think one of Kurama's issues is that you can make your stuff really hard to block, but you can't make it hit hard very easily, and this is doing nothing to help you there. On top of that, you have to commit to destroying this with the Enhance before you know if your attack's going to deal damage. You can use it on a rival's attack to tank 1 and then draw 2, hope to block the next, but overall for a 3-diff foundation, I'm not loving it. So let's look at the rest. Spirit Slash, I don't know of that many ways to actually use the first clause of this, where if this leaves your card pool, you get to build your top card. Because this doesn't share any symbols with Younger Toguro, and I'm not sure who else is really doing that. Let's see. Kind-Hearted, Fearsome Transformations is pretty good spam. Flip to draw a card, and then discard a card unless you have a momentum, so most of the time it's going to be flip to draw a card, except maybe on your first attacking turn. That's pretty solid for limited play. Tornado Charge is okay. It just says, hey, my next one's going to be a little bit scarier. I don't think I'm going to first pick it, but it's nice to have as some filler in your deck. Cruel Intent is a little too specific for me. Display of Power. This is probably the front runner here. The clause of your rival having 6 or more foundations, that just means that they're playing the game. If your rival's playing the game, you get to commit this for +3 damage. That's a really good rate on a 1-diff foundation. Another throw. Finger Daggers is a solid attack, but it's very mid zone. Body Memorization, not really a first pick. I think it's almost like a sideboard card for limited, honestly. It's very good against the Echo attacks, of which there are a ton in this set, and in limited, your rival might have a couple copies of the same common or something. But the enhanced remove on this is a steep cost, the +4 mid block is a steep cost, the forecheck is a steep cost. I'm not going to be picking this early. And Keiko's support, I think that's a little risky for the build around. I might want to see more of the deck that I have before I pick something like this. So my pack 1 pick 1 here is just going to be the Display of Power. I think it is generically very good in any deck that you can fit it in. Alright, pack 4. Rinku can get on out of here. Looks like our rare here is going to be Risho's Meteor. This is a great first pick for your draft. So this is going to let you offensively selectively flip a rival foundation and essentially give this extra speed equal to its difficulty. There's a lot of 2 and 3 diff foundations people are going to be playing in this, so being able to just hit one of those right off the bat, give this basically +3 speed is fantastic. And then if they don't block this, they have to flip 2 more. Well worth the 2 check. The 4 diff, 4 high for 5, totally solid stats, 2 low block. I love it. Easy first pick here. So, if we're not picking that, if our rare's a dud, what else we got? Reborn Human. It's okay, it's a cool defensive card, but probably not a first pick here. Battle Aura is Stun Hate. Again, not a first pick, but something I would like to have in my deck, potentially. Very specific. A little generic. We had this as an early pick previously. I do like this card a lot. Okay, so Borrowed Energy is okay. Not really a first pick, but I like it as if you're going second when they get an attack turn before you do and they get some momentum, you get to kind of start with the momentum if you have this out. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to pick Armor of the Ape here. So Kuro Momotaro, I haven't pulled one yet, but he's the character that cares about these armor cards. There's one uncommon, and then I think a rare and an ultra rare, and he gets to start with one in his momentum, which essentially gives him an extra enhance as long as he has that face up there. This one says -1 damage to all of your opponent's attacks. That is really good. If you can pull multiple of these, they add up really quickly in that character, and he's kind of a build around if you can get lucky with him. But this one is powerful enough that you're going to play it with anyone who can use the symbol. If you can get this into your momentum and all your opponent's attacks have -1 damage, that is a great place to be. So this is going to be my pack 1, pick 2. On to pack number 5, 6? On to pack number 5. Character, Kuwabara. Very nice. This guy's going to be pretty good limited as far as all the 5-handers go. He gets that huge damage pump near the end game. He gets all this damage reduction. He just gets a lot of control over the game. I like him a lot for limited. Our rare is an ultra rare Double Tornado Fist. This is going to be a very easy first pick. So 1 low block, love it. It has this enhance down here that says if your top card of the discard pile has Tornado in the name, draw a card. You're never really going to see that. You might be able to build around it, but I wouldn't be taking picks that just have Tornado in the name just for that. Really what you care about here is this enhance. If this attack has speed of 6 or greater, gets +2 damage. So you play this in this guy, Jin. He gives +2 speed, maybe +3 speed to all of his attacks. So in him, this is going to be a 6 high for 7 every time. Sometimes a 7 high for 7. And most importantly, it has Echo. So you're going to play this. If they can block it, play it again. If they can't block it, also play it again. This is just a real good card in that character. It's going to put you in a direction immediately. Alright, so second pick in the pack. Well, our reprint slot is essentially a second rare, so yeah, we're going to be picking Sword Get Longer here. It is a little restrictive on your character, but this just happens to be the guy you want. So as long as you have the good symbol on your character and you get to play this, this is going to be a 6 mid for 6 that lets you just build a whole bunch of foundations. You can jam this on 1 even if you check a 3 and have to commit to get it down. It's going to build you 2 to 3 foundations just on its own. And it's got that Desperation 4, so when you're at half health, it costs 4 instead of 6. It's very strong. I'm going to flip through the rest of the pack, but I don't think anything here is going to really compete with that. Yeah, I think I'm good. Pick 1, pick 2. Alright. Starting off, Younger Toguro. People are thinking that this guy is the best character in the set for limited, either him or the Elder Toguro we opened earlier. I think that the gap in power level is definitely narrower than people are making it out to be, but I'm not going to argue too much about that opinion. This guy is very, very strong. He smooths out your builds even though he gives foundations to your opponent. He clears the first attack you play, and he just piles on damage, and he doesn't say non-throw, so you can just put damage on all your throws. It's really scary. Alright. Our rare here is Hungry for Fame. Enhance Commit Flip. You get to pick up a momentum. That's a very powerful effect, but that is a pretty steep cost. This is a 2-diff. It commits and it flips to do that. I'm not sure if this is that easy of a first pick, so we're going to flip through the rest of the pack. I'm the Dragon. It's okay. You're paying 1 health to get 2 health of theirs, but you have to commit for it. Master Vice is definitely not a first pick. Diving Phoenix Crush. So this is the other way to make Momotaro work. If you can get a couple copies of this or a bunch of copies of just like 1 common attack on Momotaro symbols, this lets you put in a attack face up to your momentum, even if it doesn't necessarily have text there like the armor cards. If you just put up a copy of, I don't know, Spirit Uppercut, let's say. You put this in face up, and then Momotaro says all your other Spirit Uppercuts have +1/+2. So if you can draft a ton of copies of kind of a medium common attack, use this to shove it into your momentum, give the stats to all the rest of them. I think that's one of the strategies for how to draft that character. I just wanted to discuss that. I'm not going to pick this. It's not an early pick card. Acrobatic Style. It's pretty good. There's a lot of stuff in this set. Writing your foundation is great. It's a spam. I wouldn't pick it over the rare. Unmatched Quickness. There's been some debate on this card of how powerful it is. I think you definitely want them in your deck if you're on those symbols, but I don't think it's worth picking early. The 10 or less health clause is a big if there. Your opponent can very easily play around this, try to knock you to 11, then get the rest of the next turn. So unless you are someone who has more control over their own life total, I'm not going to be picking this early. Spirit Uppercut is fine. It's a typal card. You want to get a bunch of spirit stuff all together. Again, not an early pick. I have no idea how to judge this card. I want to say it's not great. The enhance on here is +3 damage with a chance at +6 damage. And then it has this Team Toguro response to turn it into a momentum if you blow up a foundation. It's fine. I think this is like pack 3 if you see this and you're pretty sure you're playing a Team Toguro character. You can pick this up and be happy about it, but I'm not going to pick it this early. Beautiful Energy Blast. Again, with the combo ranged here for the benefit of drawing a card and changing the zone, it's a good effect, but I want to know that I have a bunch of ranged cards before picking this up, as opposed to picking this up and getting a bunch of ranged cards. I do like Enormous Axe a lot. It's a little character specific with the if this is destroyed, but there's enough stuff in the set to let you destroy your own foundations that even if you aren't this guy Bui who can do it on his own, I think you can get the passive benefit of this without too much trouble, but it's mostly about the enhance. Committing for usually +3, +4 damage is pretty strong, probably worth a 3 diff, and the 1 mid block is nothing to sneeze at. And then A Sun's Love. I hate this card, for limited, to be clear. The enhance to make an attack lose safe doesn't mean anything because there's no reversals in this set. And the first form commit, you draw 1, and then your opponent can just have a momentum for you to draw a second. Giving them that choice is usually pretty scary. Drawing 2 cards might be worth giving them that momentum, might not be, but for a 3 diff that doesn't have a block, I'm not into it. So I think after looking at the pack, I am going to take Hungry for Fame. If this was any worse of a rare, I would have gone for Enormous Axe, but I'll take this and I'll build from there. Alright, pack 7. We got a Hakashou as our character. Our rare is Ogre Boulder. This is going to be a slam dunk pack 1, pick 1. So it says enhance if your opponent has 2 or more face downs, it gets 2 speed, and if they have 3 or more committed, it gets 2 damage. It has stun 1. If you are team Roku Yukai, you get to stun 1 again. So that is going to be this guy Chu or Rinku, who we saw earlier. Neither of those characters are characters that I want to pick super early and like really go in on, but I think picking this up, the fail case of not having that extra stun 1 is still fine. In the mid game, this is going to get turned on more often than not. As a 4 diff, you can play it late in your string. They'll have some number of committed foundations. They're going to have some face downs. You get a stun. This is going to get that +2/+2 pretty often, at which point it's a 4 diff 5 high for 7. Easy. Just raw stats. I love it. Outside of that, nothing in this pack that I'm too interested so far. Bit of a build around with no restraint. 3 low 4 stun 1. That's not bad. I don't love starting with it. Bending Blade, I'm not really sure how to judge. I do like that it can't be partially blocked, and then maybe get to change the zone. This would be a really cool Hiei card. So again, not going to first pick it with that in mind, but if I think I'm on a Hiei plan, yeah, I'll grab this. I do like this one a lot. You are checking through your deck and saying, hey, if this one hits, the next one might be scarier. I don't think the checking, like worrying about mill, is going to be that much of a cost. So it's kind of just free. Maybe you get a damage, maybe you don't. There's a lot of ifs in this, so maybe I'm overvaluing it a little bit, but I do think it's a cool card. This card's really cool. With the combo enhance here, if you can combo off a weapon, then as long as you are capable of paying for this late in the string, even if you pay for it, you get to ready all those foundations back. So it's almost like you just pass the check no matter what. You have to be capable of passing it to do so. 3 mid 5 is, fine stats. But yeah, it's a free attack. It's very cool. You do need the weapon build around though. And I think this is what I'm going to go with, the Spirit Charged Kick. So 5 diff, 4 high 6, EX3. I'm pretty happy with those stats. 0 low block is really, really nice. Next attack, -1 difficulty. That's great. You get to ignore the progressive this is giving you for the next one, essentially. That's cool. And then your next attack gets +1 damage for each symbol it shares with your character. So chances are you're going to be playing a character and you're going to have some of their attacks in your deck. So some number of the attacks in your deck are going to get a +3 from that. Just because of how draft works, you're going to pick the character that you have the cards for. Yeah, I think this is, I'm not super thrilled about picking it for a first pick, but it's a pretty good pack 1, pick 2 here. Alright, I think this is pack 8. We're opening a Kurama. So I don't know if they've verified this, but I think how it works for Kurama, who is a stacking character, you want a bunch of copies of him in your deck. If you open one, you get to treat it as if it's a card you drafted, and then if you choose to play Kurama at the end of the draft, you get another copy of it. So I would want to open maybe 2 of these to really be happy about playing Kurama in Limited, but opening 1 is pretty cool. Alright, So this is a really weird one. 5 diff, 5 mid for 5. Stun 1, okay. If you took damage last turn, this gets plus 4 damage. That is probably going to be on for most of the game, so we're looking at, let's see, 5 diff, 5 speed plus a stun, 9 damage, 1 low block. I'm pretty happy with his stats. I think this is the first pick based on that alone. And then it has this nonsense down here about the Chew enhance. If you're playing Chew, if they have 8 committed foundations and they don't block this, you just win. But if you dealt 9 to them and you didn't win already, then that's on you. I don't know. It's a very funny card. I'm going to pick it because all the numbers are great. Looking through the rest of this. Flip for +1/+2 on a stun attack. That's pretty good. There's a lot of stun just at common in this. This is pretty nice. Essentially destroying for +1 speed. Lets you get rid of your face downs. It's alright. Not going to first pick that. I really don't like this card. Discarding card for -2 damage feels not worth it, especially on a +4 block. This one's interesting. I'm not going to first pick it, but the speed reset plus like kind of a breaker 1 on the block. This is, you know, almost barrier shield, but it's face up in play. Costs the foundation destroy. This card I am never going to play unlimited, I don't think. I'm pretty sure here I'm just going to take this 0 diff as my pack 1 pick 2. There aren't a lot of 0 diffs in the set. I think there's 2 at common and then an uncommon and a rare. The flip on this might come up. I'm not going to focus on weapons in my deck just because I have one of these. The -1 damage on my opponent, that's cool if it happens. Mostly this is just a 0 diff foundation to smooth out my builds. But pick 1, pick 2. Alright, character here is Shishi Wakamaru. I would love to play this guy in a draft. I think he's quite powerful. He gets to cheat the rules of the game, essentially, with both of his abilities, ignoring progressive, or ignoring checks, and then just shoving stuff into his momentum for free. Very cool. No defense, so a little squishy, but I think he's a cool kind of, not really a build around even. He's got some aggro. If you can find the stats in your foundations, and if you can see some powerful attacks that you want to cheat the check on, yeah, he's a cool one. Rare here is Breaking the Cuffs. I like this card a lot. Discarding a card, destroying this for +3/+3 to an attack that you think you really want to get through, you think is going to get through. I think that rate is definitely worth it. This is going to be not a slam dunk pack 1 pick 1, but I would pick it here. My retro is Spirit Detective. This is a weird one. It has a whole lot of ifs and a whole lot of weird costs. So it can seal the second copy of a rival attack. I don't know how much I care about that. If they have 2 copies of a card, good chance it's a common that doesn't have too much text on it that I really need to seal. And then it has a cancel, but only if I have a Spirit card in my discard pile. So kind of a build around, not really a first pick. Outside of that, there's not a ton in here that I'm interested in. I do like the 0/6. That's a pretty strong contender for a card I want in my deck, but not necessarily something in the first pick. I think Shapeshift Decoy is a very good attack at common. Powerful 3 on a base 6 speed is really where you want to be. So that's a contender. Here's the other 0 diff. I think I would take the 0/6 over the 0/5 that has some build around text. I'm not sure how to judge this card. I don't think it's very good in limited. And then this card's okay. Ooh, paying the cost. That's probably going to be it. This isn't bad either. Double sword style. So paying the cost lets you lose a life to give your attack a damage. You're essentially trading a life for maybe a life if your attack gets through. But on your kill turns, that's going to be really good. It's a 1 diff foundation. Just having access to that at all times is going to be real nice when you're trying to push that damage through. Double sword style. I forget, does Kuwabara let you commit stuff offensively? I'm not entirely sure, but I think he does. So, committing this for +1 damage. If they stun you, they get -1 damage. And then you can cash this in for a card draw on an attack turn. That's pretty good. That probably doesn't edge out the just flat damage boost, though. And then Tornado Fist. This is a pretty nice attack. I don't know how much I love Flash in Limited. It kind of doesn't exactly lock me into wanting to play Jin. I think that having my enhancements available is something I would prefer. A lot of the most powerful stuff is going to be on your character. So I think my pack 1, pick 2 here is going to be paying the cost. Alright, we got our boy Hiei here. He's going to go over there. Got another ultra rare. Yeah, we're walking the dog here. This card's insane. It's not an 8 diff. If you can play this late in the string as one of the stun characters, then it's going to be probably a 5 diff. You might get it down all the way to a 4 diff. And once you play this, it's a 6 low for 6 with stun 1 and powerful 3 and draw a card. Yeah, this card's absolutely busted. What are we doing here? Easy, pack 1, pick 1. Alright, after that, not really first pickable. I don't love these like 1 high for 4s that are in the set. Unstunning R is pretty good. Committing for -2 speed on a 2 diff is a little worse than we're used to, but in that early game, if they have a nuts build and you kind of fell behind a little bit, having that commit for -3 is really nice. 5 low 3, powerful 3. Okay, it's filler. Frightening Calm we've discussed. This card's okay. 60% power is pretty good. It's like a secret 6 speed, but it's still just a mid attack, even if it has powerful. I don't love it. I think this card is a very cool build around in Karasu. Not exactly a build around, like a synergy card. If you're going in on that character, you love to have this. You'll probably be able to get these, but you're not going to pick this and then go into the character. Ogre Killer. This card is nice. You have to flip 1 of your foundations, but you're essentially stunning 2, and then if they have an asset for whatever reason, you get to commit that as well. It's only 3 damage, so you don't necessarily want a ton of these effects, but if you have something like Walk the Dog, this would be an excellent pack 1, pick 2. We're probably going to take this massive blow here, though. So the cost of milling yourself for 3 isn't really anything. You do need to be like one of the 5-handers for this. I'm not sure who's like the automatic choice. I think it might be Kuwabara over Bui and Shu, who has the highest base printed health. But if you do, you get an extra +2 to the powerful rating. Your opponent flips 1. So 3 high 8, powerful 5. You definitely need to figure out how to push it through. But yeah, 1 momentum for 5 damage is great. And even if this just gets in for base, it's an 8 damage attack. That's pretty good. I'm going to slam this unless I see something like this in the back. Alright, by now I've lost count of what pack I'm on. I want to say 10. We've got Toya. Everyone says this guy is the worst character in the set. I'm not going to say that I disagree with them, but I think there's a world where you play this as your limited character and you don't feel bad about it, but it's basically just if you have a reason to be on Team Masho and you have a really powerful water card that you can't use Jin for. Alright, so our rare here, I think we're going to pack 1, pick 1, the secret rare here. Funnily enough, this might be the worst secret rare in Limited. I think the Kurama one is a little bit more narrow. This is kind of just a pile of stats. You're always going to pay a health here for the 2 damage. So if you have nothing else to do with this, this is a 5 diff, 4 high for 7 with stun 1 and EX2. That's pretty good. You're not going to be mad about that. If you can pick up some of those foundations that pay health, or if you just want to play Hiei, yeah, this is a good place to be. I will happily pack 1, pick 1. Darkness Dragon Prowess. After that, okay, we have our favorite little 0-6. I do like my 6-4 attack. Not going to play Drunken Fighting. Don't like Out of Reach. No thank you. Oh, we found our last of the common and uncommon 0 diffs. I think this is worse than the other two. This wants allies instead of weapons, but it only gives +1 stat as opposed to the +2 damage. And then the block text on this, where you get to build it in immediately, plus the 6 check, I think is a little more powerful than Demonic Teamwork. Team Dr. Ichikage is a really interesting one. I do like having this in the deck. This kind of lets you cancel out your opponent's big scary attack. So if they play, well, this is a bad example. If they play something like Walk the Dog, you can cancel their draw or their powerful or something like that. Or just a foundation with like flip or remove or destroy cost. Having this cancel available is going to make your opponent have a much harder time. Okay, this is a front runner. We talked about this way back in pack 1 or 2 that I opened. Breaker 2 low block is just such a good surprise to have in this set. And then Bat Strike, since a lot of the discard support is in the reprint slot, even though it says it's like common or uncommon, you're not going to see a ton of ways to enable this card, so I don't think it's super playable in Limited. Our pack 1, pick 2 is going to be Yusuke Spirit Wave again. Alright. Here we have Kuro Momotaro, who we've talked about a couple times so far. At this point, we're 11 packs deep, and we've opened 1 armor card for this guy, which should give you a hint of how playable he is in Limited. You really want more than 1 of those armors, and so far we only would have had an opportunity to pull 1 out of the first pack, so that's what I have to say about that guy. Okay, Wind Barrier. Yeah, we are first picking the rare. This does kind of push you towards playing Jin because it wants you to have that +2 speed already on here to make this a 5 mid 5 on a 3 diff. But really this is powerful for the blocks. It's a 1 mid breaker 1, and then it's almost like negative progressive difficulty in your card pool because it gives all future attacks from your opponents -2 speed. It's just really nice to have on defense and on offense if you either have a lot of ways to give speed or if you just choose to play Jin. Outside of that, great first pick here in 45% power. Crowd Starling is a very interesting build around, but I don't think there's a real way to guarantee that many weapon attacks to really pay off for it. This card's okay. 1 high block I like, but the 5 diff on the combo card is always kind of a tough sell. You want to be playing this on a 6 to get everything out of it, and then you want to play a bunch of cards after this to take advantage of clogging their card pool. So, not really my favorite. Ooh, Invincible Body. This might take the spot over 45% power. This basically just says you get to ignore an attack from your opponent. It's your first enhance, but you can just pass through any damage buffs they do and then activate this. So your opponent has to kind of figure out the puzzle when this is on the board if you're going to use it or not. This card's very cool, definitely worth the 3 difficulty foundation. I might take it over the 45% power attack here just because it's uncommon over the common. I might be able to see more of these. I'm up between these two right now. And then Human Hunter. That's kind of hard to judge. You have to commit after you deal damage. Give some stats to your next one. You can flame me in the comments if this card's insane and I just don't realize it. I think here I'm probably just taking 45% power. 4 diff, 4 high 4 draws a card almost every time. It's hard to argue with that as just keeping yourself open for your first pick. So pick 1, pick 2. Alright, back 12. Here is our guy Chu. Works well with our Knife Edge Deathmatch from earlier. Our rare is Desperate Slash. Yeah, so it's got this fake desperation to make it a potentially a 3 diff, 3 high 4, but it's always going to be this 3 high 3. And then the mill 3 gets +1/+1 for each foundation. Typically that's going to get you +2/+2. it's very unlikely to get you nothing. So if this is a 4 diff 4 high 4, it's not ideal. 4 diff 5 high 5, now we're getting somewhere. And if you hit the +3/+3, or if you're already at 10 health and hit that, this could be as much as a 3 diff 6 high 7, and the upside on that is really hard to pass up. So this is probably a pack 1 pick 1 rare. Past that, our retro reprint is Mop Strike, which is also a rare. And this pack is nuts. So this says you're going to discard a card, your rival's going to discard a random card, you're both going to draw a card, and then you're going to draw another card because your rival discarded a card. On top of that, this sometimes has a 3 diff instead of a 4 diff, and it's just a 4 high 4 with a 1 mid block. The numbers on this card are insane. You get to loot away a card and draw 2 almost every time. You can disrupt your opponent's hand a little bit. This is probably more of a first pick than Desperate Slash. So I'm going to go pick 1 with Mop Strike, pick 2 with Desperate Slash here, oddly enough. Flip through this real quick. Yeah, alright. So we're going to open this pack in Limited, and our person next to us is going to see 2 of these 3 cards in the pack and wonder what is going on. This card, Double Fist of the Mortal Flame, is also absolutely nuts. Yeah, the 2 health to just get a momentum, or have this an Echo and then 2 health to get a momentum. It's crazy. Pack is crazy.